Hey everyone, welcome back to BullionIQ, your trusted place for crypto, blockchain, and finance insights. I'm your host, your crypto sensei, and today we have some game-changing news coming straight from Ripple. If you've been following XRP, RLUSD, or the evolution of crypto banking, you need to pay attention because this could reshape the market and the way we see digital finance. Before we get started, make sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an update. Ripple has just received preliminary conditional approval from the U.S. Office of the Comptroller of the Currency, or OCC, to establish the Ripple National Trust Bank. This is huge news. Ripple is moving into the regulated banking sector, and it's more than just a step forward. It's a leap. The approval is conditional, meaning Ripple must meet certain requirements before full authorization. But even this first step signals that Ripple is serious about compliance, trust, and innovation. This move also sets the highest standard for stablecoin compliance in the United States, and it's worth breaking down why it matters. RLUSD, Ripple's stablecoin, will now be backed by a national trust bank regulated by the OCC and overseen by the New York Department of Financial Services. This gives RLUSD a level of oversight that very few stablecoins in the U.S. currently have. Federal supervision means transparency, security, and reliability. Institutional investors, major banks, and enterprises are looking for these qualities when deciding which digital assets to work with. By securing conditional approval for a federally regulated bank, Ripple is putting RLUSD in a class of its own. Brad Garlinghouse, Ripple's CEO, emphasized that compliance is the foundation for Ripple's innovation. This is proof that Ripple is taking the regulatory path seriously, prioritizing consumer trust while expanding their products in a responsible way. In the past, one of the main criticisms of crypto has been the lack of clear regulatory oversight. With this approval, Ripple is directly addressing that concern while still driving innovation in payments. The OCC's announcement notes that this approval is preliminary, meaning Ripple needs to fulfill a checklist of regulatory and operational requirements before final approval is granted. Once complete, Ripple National Trust Bank will join a select group of approximately 60 national trust banks in the United States, a very small and highly regulated circle. The process involves setting up the bank infrastructure according to federal standards, ensuring policies, procedures, and operational practices are fully compliant. Once this is done, the bank will receive final approval and will officially be recognized under federal law. This changes Ripple's position dramatically. They move from being a crypto company on the periphery of traditional finance to being directly part of the regulated banking system. Institutional adoption is a major factor here. Banks, payment providers, and large corporations are much more likely to use Ripple's technology stack now that it is fully compliant with federal standards. Previously, Ripple had to work indirectly with banks, often as a third-party provider. Now they can hold reserves, manage RLUSD directly, and potentially interact with the Federal Reserve in the future. This integration allows Ripple to streamline payment settlements, increase efficiency, and offer a fully compliant product to traditional financial institutions. RLUSD becomes one of the most tightly regulated stablecoins in the U.S., making it more attractive than competitors who cannot prove their reserves or maintain the same level of oversight. XRP, as Ripple's native liquidity asset, also benefits from this approval. Analysts view the charter as a positive signal for institutional adoption. With RLUSD managed under a regulated bank, XRP can continue to serve as a bridge asset for liquidity, especially in corridors where speed and cost efficiency are critical. This setup can increase structural demand for XRP over time as more institutions engage with Ripple's products. While exact price predictions are uncertain, the foundations for long-term growth are becoming stronger. Ripple is also expanding globally through strategic partnerships. For example, the partnership with Amina Bank in Switzerland is enabling Ripple's payment stack to integrate with Google Cloud's Universal Ledger. This allows banks and clients in Europe to process payments faster, cheaper, and more efficiently, bridging the gap between traditional finance and blockchain. RLUSD and XRP can be used for seamless cross-border transactions under fully compliant frameworks, demonstrating Ripple's ability to integrate digital assets into mainstream banking. These partnerships create opportunities for wider adoption, positioning Ripple as a key player in the evolving global payment system. In addition, developments like HexTrust WXRP and connections to other blockchains show Ripple's growing influence in DeFi and cross-chain liquidity. WXRP allows native XRP liquidity to leave the XRP ledger without losing institutional integrity, making it usable in decentralized finance while remaining fully backed and regulated. This development bridges traditional finance with blockchain innovation, enabling faster, safer, and more compliant liquidity solutions for businesses and investors. Overall, Ripple's preliminary OCC approval, RLUSD's new regulatory status, and XRP's strengthened role in payments and liquidity set the stage for an exciting future. Ripple is no longer just a crypto company. It's becoming a regulated financial institution capable of competing directly with traditional banks while offering innovative blockchain-based solutions. For investors and enthusiasts, this is an important signal. Ripple's technology stack is gaining legitimacy. Adoption is likely to increase, and the groundwork for broader financial integration is being laid. Let's dive deeper into what this conditional approval means for RLUSD and Ripple's broader strategy. RLUSD is now positioned as a bank-issued dollar-backed stablecoin under federal oversight, which is extremely important for adoption by major financial institutions. Unlike many stablecoins that operate with minimal oversight or questionable reserve practices, RLUSD's reserves will now be fully managed within the Ripple National Trust Bank, creating a level of trust that institutional players require. This also sets a standard in the industry. Any bank, hedge fund, or enterprise that wants to use a stablecoin in the U.S. can now consider RLUSD as a fully compliant and reliable option, reducing risk and opening doors to large-scale integration in global financial networks. This isn't just about compliance, it's about utility. With RLUSD backed by a federally regulated bank, Ripple can facilitate large-value transactions, settlements, and cross-border payments that were previously cumbersome or slow. Enterprises and banks can now transact with confidence knowing that RLUSD is fully audited and regulated under U.S. law. For example, global corporations that deal with multi-currency settlements can use RLUSD to move dollars instantly, avoiding slow wire transfers or intermediary banking fees. The combination of federal and state supervision positions RLUSD as one of the most attractive stablecoins for regulated markets, which is exactly what Ripple has been building toward for years. From the perspective of XRP, this development is equally significant. While RLUSD will handle the fiat settlement layer, XRP continues to act as a native bridge asset on the XRP ledger. This dual-structure approach allows Ripple to provide liquidity efficiently while maintaining compliance and transparency. In practical terms, XRP can move value between multiple currencies and regions, while RLUSD ensures that US dollar transactions meet regulatory standards. This integration reduces friction and enhances the attractiveness of Ripple's payment solutions for both traditional banks and new digital finance players. Analysts predict that this could drive more demand for XRP over time, as institutional use grows alongside regulatory clarity. Ripple's partnerships also play a crucial role in this ecosystem. Amina Bank in Switzerland, for instance, is leveraging Ripple's licensed payment solutions to serve crypto-native clients in Europe. By using Google Cloud's universal ledger services, Amina Bank can provide faster, more efficient, and compliant payment processing. This setup allows seamless on-ramps and off-ramps between traditional banking infrastructure and digital assets. Essentially, Ripple is creating a bridge where fiat money and blockchain-based digital assets can interact without friction. This approach not only improves efficiency, but also enhances the credibility of Ripple's products in global markets, showing that regulated blockchain solutions can coexist with traditional banking systems. Another interesting development comes from HexTrust and WXRP, which introduce a layer of cross-chain liquidity for XRP. WXRP represents a one-to-one wrapped version of XRP that allows liquidity to move from the XRP ledger to other blockchains, like Solana, without losing regulatory compliance or institutional-grade integrity. This means DeFi projects can now access real backed liquidity rather than relying on synthetic assets or complex leverage structures. It's a subtle but powerful shift that allows XRP to maintain its position as a settlement layer while expanding its reach in decentralized finance. This cross-chain connectivity increases XRP's utility, potentially boosting adoption in ecosystems that require both speed and regulatory certainty. The Ripple National Trust Bank Charter also signals a broader institutional acceptance of Ripple's stack. Banks and financial institutions that were previously hesitant to interact with digital assets now have a clear pathway. The combination of RLUSD under federal supervision and XRP's established role as a liquidity asset makes Ripple a compelling choice for enterprises seeking efficiency in global payments. It's important to note that while the charter is still conditional, the fact that Ripple has achieved preliminary approval demonstrates a strong alignment with federal standards, which is a positive signal for regulatory confidence and market trust. Moreover, Ripple is actively participating in international conversations around digital assets and payments. Leadership from Ripple has engaged with global regulators, including representatives from the UK and Switzerland, to discuss compliance, innovation, and cross-border payment solutions. This shows Ripple is not just focused on the US market, but is aiming to position itself as a global player. By integrating its solutions with banks in multiple jurisdictions, Ripple is laying the foundation for a unified payment ecosystem where RLUSD and XRP can operate seamlessly across borders while remaining fully compliant. The implications for investors and crypto enthusiasts are significant. For one, the regulatory clarity reduces uncertainty, which has been a major concern for institutional adoption of XRP. It also highlights Ripple's strategic foresight. They are creating products that meet the needs of large-scale financial players while staying ahead of evolving regulations. The potential for XRP to serve as a bridge asset combined with RLUSD's compliance makes this a unique proposition in the crypto market where other stablecoins often struggle to meet regulatory requirements. This development also reinforces the idea of the Internet of Value, which Ripple has been advocating for years. By connecting banks, enterprises, and blockchain networks, Ripple aims to create a global payment infrastructure that is fast, cheap, and compliant. With the National Trust Bank, RLUSD becomes a cornerstone of this infrastructure, and XRP provides the liquidity backbone. This dual approach could redefine cross-border payments, removing inefficiencies, reducing costs, and increasing speed for enterprises and individuals alike. In addition, Ripple's growing ecosystem and technical integrations are noteworthy. By partnering with banks, cloud infrastructure providers, and bridging solutions like WXRP, Ripple is creating an interconnected network where digital assets can move efficiently while staying compliant. This is exactly the type of infrastructure needed for wider adoption, both in institutional and retail markets. As more banks and financial institutions engage with Ripple's products, we could see an increase in the use of XRP for settlements and RLUSD for regulated stablecoin transactions. Finally, it's important to recognize the strategic foresight in Ripple's moves. By combining federal and state regulatory compliance, robust banking infrastructure, global partnerships, and cross-chain liquidity solutions, Ripple is positioning itself not just as a crypto company, but as a financial technology leader. This puts them ahead of many competitors and creates a framework that could dominate cross-border payments for years to come. The conditional approval of Ripple National Trust Bank fundamentally changes the perception of Ripple's infrastructure, making it more appealing to large financial institutions and enterprises that previously hesitated due to regulatory uncertainty. With a federally supervised bank managing RLUSD reserves, banks can now confidently integrate Ripple's stablecoin into their operations. This setup provides transparency, reduces counterparty risk, and ensures compliance with U.S. regulations, which are essential factors for institutional adoption. Essentially, Ripple is bridging the gap between traditional finance and blockchain technology in a way that few other projects can match. XRP's role as a bridge asset becomes even more significant under this structure. While RLUSD can handle US dollar settlements and remain compliant, XRP continues to serve as the global liquidity solution for cross-border payments. Financial institutions dealing with multiple currencies can use XRP to move value efficiently between regions, while RLUSD provides the regulated dollar-backed layer for US-centric transactions. This dual-layer model creates a robust system where XRP liquidity complements RLUSD compliance, enabling faster and more secure transfers across the globe. For investors and crypto enthusiasts, this could lead to structural demand for XRP in markets where speed, cost efficiency, and regulatory certainty are crucial. Ripple's strategy also includes technical integrations with major global partners. For example, the partnership with Amina Bank in Switzerland leverages Ripple's licensed payment solutions on Google Cloud's Universal Ledger platform. This allows the bank to provide instant access to digital asset transfers, support multiple currencies, and offer programmable commercial bank money at scale. These developments are not just theoretical. They are actively enabling real-world use cases for RLUSD and XRP. Businesses can now settle transactions faster, reduce operational friction, and reach clients globally without relying solely on traditional banking rails. This is exactly what Ripple has been promising with its vision of the Internet of Value, a global, frictionless payment network. Cross-chain liquidity solutions like WXRP further enhance Ripple's ecosystem. By creating a one-to-one wrapped version of XRP, liquidity can leave the XRP ledger and enter other blockchains such as Solana while maintaining full regulatory integrity. This means decentralized finance projects can access real settlement-grade XRP liquidity instead of synthetic assets or complex derivatives. By connecting XRP to multiple chains while preserving compliance, Ripple is positioning its network as the backbone for both regulated finance and emerging DeFi markets. This approach could significantly increase XRP's utility, especially in environments that require trustworthy, high-quality liquidity for large-scale transactions. Institutional adoption is another key benefit. With a federally regulated bank, RLUSD becomes an attractive option for banks, hedge funds, and corporate treasuries seeking a stablecoin that meets strict compliance standards. Unlike some competitors who face regulatory uncertainty, RLUSD now offers a fully supervised framework, reducing risk and making it easier for institutions to engage. XRP, in turn, benefits indirectly as institutions adopt Ripple's payment infrastructure, potentially driving higher transaction volumes on the XRP ledger. This combination of regulated stablecoin and liquidity asset creates a unique value proposition that few other projects in the crypto space can match. Ripple's global strategy is equally important. By engaging with regulators and partners in Europe, the UK, and Switzerland, Ripple is establishing a blueprint for international adoption. These efforts demonstrate that Ripple is not limited to US markets. It's building a cross-border payment network that operates seamlessly across jurisdictions. The approval of Ripple National Trust Bank sets a precedent, showing that Ripple can meet rigorous regulatory standards while maintaining a scalable, innovative payment infrastructure. This increases confidence among international partners, which could accelerate adoption and expand Ripple's footprint globally. The potential use cases for RLUSD are expansive. Enterprises can use it for payroll, supplier payments, and instant settlements without relying on traditional bank transfers. Banks can hold RLUSD reserves for efficient dollar settlements, reducing counterparty risk and operational costs. Cross-border payments can be executed faster and cheaper than conventional methods, providing tangible benefits to businesses and consumers. Moreover, RLUSD's full regulatory compliance makes it a trusted on-ramp for digital assets into traditional financial systems. As more institutions adopt RLUSD, the demand for XRP as a liquidity bridge is likely to grow, reinforcing the synergy between these two assets. Another advantage comes from Ripple's focus on transparency and trust. By subjecting RLUSD to federal oversight, Ripple addresses one of the biggest criticisms of the crypto space: the lack of verified reserves and regulatory accountability. Investors, banks, and corporations can now have confidence that RLUSD is fully backed, securely managed, and compliant with U.S. law. This builds credibility for Ripple's products and could set a new industry standard for regulated stablecoins. Partnerships continue to expand Ripple's influence. By connecting traditional banks, digital asset innovators, and cloud infrastructure platforms like Google Cloud, Ripple creates an ecosystem where payments are faster, cheaper, and fully auditable. This approach demonstrates how digital assets can integrate seamlessly into the existing financial system while enhancing efficiency. RLUSD provides the regulated layer for US dollar settlements, XRP acts as a global liquidity bridge, and Ripple's technology ensures interoperability across chains and networks. This combination strengthens Ripple's position as a leading infrastructure provider in digital finance. Finally, it's important to recognize Ripple's long-term vision. By building a regulated, scalable, and globally integrated payment network, Ripple is not just chasing short-term gains. It is creating a foundation for the future of finance. RLUSD and XRP together form a complementary system that can handle global transactions efficiently, securely, and compliantly. For investors and enthusiasts, this is a signal that Ripple is moving closer to mainstream adoption, offering products that meet real-world needs while adhering to regulatory standards. Ripple has always aimed to create a global payment network, often referred to as the Internet of Value. By receiving preliminary approval for the Ripple National Trust Bank, they are now in a position to expand both within the United States and internationally. This regulatory legitimacy increases trust among institutional players, making banks, corporations, and payment providers more willing to adopt Ripple's technology. The ability to manage RLUSD reserves within a federally supervised bank also creates a competitive edge over other stablecoins that do not meet these standards. Essentially, Ripple is positioning itself as a fully regulated, reliable, and innovative financial infrastructure provider. The total addressable market for Ripple's technology is massive. When we talk about global payments, we're essentially talking about nearly all the money moving through banks, corporations, and cross-border settlements. Ripple is creating a system where XRP acts as a bridge asset for liquidity, while RLUSD handles regulated dollar settlements. This combination can be adopted for corporate payments, remittances, cross-border trade, and even real-time interbank settlements. Imagine every large financial transaction moving faster, cheaper, and more transparently using Ripple's network. The scale of this opportunity is enormous, potentially encompassing trillions of dollars in annual payments. This is why Ripple's conditional approval is so significant. It positions them to compete directly with traditional banking rails. while offering the advantages of blockchain efficiency. Ripple's partnerships continue to strengthen their market position. Collaborations with banks like Amina Bank in Switzerland, along with Google Cloud's Universal Ledger, demonstrate that Ripple's technology is scalable and ready for global adoption. These partnerships provide instant access to digital asset transfers, multi-currency payouts, and programmable commercial money, enabling institutions to streamline operations. The ability to integrate RLUSD and XRP into existing financial systems without friction is a major selling point. Businesses and banks can reduce costs, avoid delays, and offer faster services to clients, all while staying fully compliant with regulations. This is exactly the type of solution large enterprises have been looking for, and it sets Ripple apart from other crypto projects that lack regulatory integration. The XRP ledger also plays a crucial role in this ecosystem. While RLUSD provides a secure, regulated settlement option, XRP continues to serve as the liquidity bridge. This dual approach enables Ripple to offer both speed and compliance simultaneously. Institutions can move XRP for global liquidity purposes while relying on RLUSD for fully regulated US dollar transactions. Analysts argue that this structure could increase structural demand for XRP, particularly in corridors where efficiency and low-cost transfers are most valuable. In practical terms, XRP adoption could rise as more banks and enterprises leverage Ripple's combined infrastructure for day-to-day transactions. Cross-chain solutions like WXRP also expand Ripple's market reach. By enabling XRP liquidity to move on to other blockchains without losing regulatory compliance, Ripple allows decentralized finance and traditional financial systems to interact in a secure way. This opens up a new segment of institutional adoption within DeFi, where liquidity and compliance were previously challenging. Institutions and corporate users can now access high-quality liquidity for large-scale transactions, making Ripple a versatile player in both centralized and decentralized ecosystems. Regulatory clarity is another major factor that can drive adoption. With RLUSD reserves managed by a federally supervised trust bank, Ripple addresses concerns about transparency and risk that have historically hindered stablecoin adoption. This compliance can attract more banks, hedge funds, and payment providers to adopt Ripple's infrastructure. Investors also benefit from knowing that the system is backed by robust regulatory oversight, reducing uncertainties that often accompany crypto investments. For XRP, this can translate into increased usage, higher transactional volume, and broader recognition as a bridge asset across global payments. Ripple's long-term strategy is also worth noting. By combining regulatory compliance, scalable infrastructure, and global partnerships, Ripple is creating a foundation for widespread adoption over the coming years. Their approach is not limited to one market or region. It's designed to operate seamlessly across borders, integrating with traditional financial systems while providing the advantages of blockchain technology. The ability to handle regulatory requirements in multiple jurisdictions strengthens Ripple's credibility and makes it a preferred solution for both institutional and corporate users. The potential impact on XRP's adoption and value cannot be understated. With RLUSD providing a regulated settlement layer, XRP can act as a global liquidity bridge with a clear, compliant use case. Institutions may be more willing to hold XRP for liquidity purposes if they know it operates within a fully supervised ecosystem. This creates opportunities for higher transaction volumes on the XRP ledger and could gradually lead to greater demand for XRP as a utility asset in the global payment space. While price predictions remain uncertain, the fundamental infrastructure for growth is being laid today. Furthermore, Ripple's strategic global partnerships enhance its competitive advantage. By working with banks in Europe, the UK, and other regions, Ripple ensures that its network can be used by enterprises and financial institutions across multiple jurisdictions. RLUSD and XRP are positioned to serve as compliant settlement options, while Ripple's technology stack enables fast, efficient, and programmable payments. The combination of regulated stablecoins, cross-chain liquidity, and scalable infrastructure creates a unique ecosystem that can support the growing demands of global financial networks. Finally, Ripple's market positioning suggests that they are preparing for long-term adoption and integration into mainstream finance. By focusing on compliance, partnerships, and technology, Ripple is creating a pathway for large-scale adoption that few other crypto projects can replicate. RLUSD and XRP together form a robust, complementary system that can handle global payments efficiently and transparently. The groundwork being laid today could enable Ripple to capture a significant portion of the global payments market, positioning it as a leader in the future of finance.